What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Last video we did a rear suspension and we said we're gonna try to get this thing ready for the track, which is this Sunday. So right here we have the stuff we need to get the car loaded up onto the trailer and driving. So we just gotta, obviously we don't have a battery, so that's our battery, our clutch fluid, and the wrenches, because today we have to bleed the clutch line so we could actually drive this car. There's a bunch of other stuff we have to do, but I'm actually going to move this car to my house so I can work on it more comfortable there. So that means that means that we need to bleed this, and it's only me, and I forgot my pneumatic bleeder at home, so we're gonna have to just gravity bleed this. So I'll open the bleeder valve on the slave cylinder down there, and then I'll just pump this with fluid, and then I'll just let that all the air bubbles come out. I'll probably pump the brakes a couple times, make sure this is full on fluid, and I just need this to be strong enough to get out of the driveway and onto the trailer. All right, peoples, we got pressure. So now, if we push it down, it comes back up. Quickly ran in the garage, grabbed a couple things that I needed so we could get this thing together. And those are my wrenches I already brought. Some brake lines, because we got to do something. We got to do the two rear brake lines on our dad's Civic that we gave him, which was our first car that we gave back to him. There's a whole playlist dedicated to that. I think we've given him 3 cars already, so you guys can watch that there. I don't really need the drill bits, but they're good to have. Coolant, and I found this hose in the garage that seems pretty damn close to the diameter of the old coolant hose that goes down there. So we're gonna take this home and make that work. And that's it. So I'm gonna put that in the trunk, put the jump pack on, and I think we should be able to drive this car out to the street and onto the trailer. Jump pack connected and on. Let me close clutch master cylinder. And don't worry, I'll clean up that spilled brake fluid later. Close the hood a little bit because I'm gonna go straight onto the street like this. All right. Let's unlock the alarm. Close the door. Clutch in. Oh boy. Oh boy. We don't have enough clutch. Oh, here we go. All right. Huge step. Yes, sir. Driving under his own power. Let's go, baby. All right. This thing might die. I don't know how long my jump pack has, so let me load it up and we'll check back in once we're ready to get out of here. We're on. Woo-hoo. See you guys back in my house. We're home. Car's still on the trailer here. So a couple things we gotta do. I already cut this line down to size so it can fit from that joint or that valve, the heater core, to this upper hose here. Right there. I brought the rear bumper and the side skirts so we could get this car looking more like a car. because it has no rear bumper right now. We're gonna avoid that for now, but you know, make it look more like a car. So I gotta get a couple things done today before we go over to Uncle Rigo's. With the alignment appointment quickly approaching, I got started on installing the coolant hose. While I was at it, I figured it was a great time to drill out a broken bolt for the upper radiator mount and change it out for a good one. And just like that, I was at Uncle Rigo's for the new alignment. Alright guys, car's jacked up, wheels off, and I got a list of things to do. So all these things need to be done before we could drive it on Sunday at the track. So in no particular order, we gotta do a bolt check because well, these two go in hand because I went and the RS cotter pin fell off of the front wheel, and I kind of got told off because of that. Next, we have a time belt water pump. I don't know if it actually needs it. I have it just because this engine has like 300,000 miles. We'll inspect it in a minute, but I figured that we'll change it while we're at it. Spark plugs, oil pan gasket because this thing is disgusting. Valve cover gasket, same thing. The thermostat because if we're gonna replace the water pump, we might as well replace the rest of the cooling system. An oil change, obviously, if we're removing the oil pan, we're doing the oil change. Torque mounts. If we have time, I want to degrease the engine. I want to obviously wash the car because it's been sitting for about a year. I want to clean up the interior because it's a mess here. Also, I want to kind of fix the steering column issue, and also I don't know why we still have those condoms here. Drive it, but then I remembered as I went through it, we obviously, once we replace the water pump and thermostat, we're gonna have to do a coolant flush and bleed the coolant. We need a battery, and then I'll show you guys a little bit later, but there seems to be some sort of exhaust leak under this manifold. So today is Wednesday. I don't know what time it is right now. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:21. I have until like 5 to work on the car, then I have to do something else. And then tomorrow, Thursday, it's a complete washout. Friday, I could work on the car again. And Saturday, I have plans at 3. So that gives me really 2 hours today, Friday, and like a little bit of Saturday. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I don't have too much time to play with, so I need to basically get this done like ASAP. Another day down meant I needed to make today count. I wanted to get the most time-consuming jobs out of the way first, so that meant setting the engine at top dead center, removing the power steering and alternator belts, valve cover, and timing cover. Good news, bad news. Good news. It looks like somebody was already here, replaced it with like a AutoZone special. See if you guys can see those threads there. Let's see. Uh-oh. See that? Looks pretty healthy. Looks pretty new actually. And then if we take a look down under that cover right there, that looks like a brand new water pump. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means none other than we don't have to do the time belt water pump anymore. That means we can remove some things off of here. So it's raining, so it's gonna come off time belt all the way through water pump. That was a big thing to do. So now that that's out of the way, we could worry about other stuff. But I said there was good news and bad news. And as you can see, it's raining. Unfortunately, it's gonna rain on and off for the next 2 hours or hour and a half. So that's all the time I have. And it's drizzling now, and I don't want to get caught out here in the rain, especially having the engine uncovered like that. So I'm going to have to basically clean this up real quick before the rain really starts coming down, and then try to get back at this either tonight after my plans, tomorrow in the rain. Maybe I don't have a tent. Another day here, and it's late. It's like 5 in the afternoon. Rain's been kind of on and off all day, and then also I went and got a canopy to try to get stuff done in the rain today. So I spent $90 for no reason, but we'll get our money out of it eventually. Big thing is I got everything we need to get this thing back on the road, on the ground, and driving. So I went to Walmart, got a battery, $70 plus $12 core, so it's cheap. So here's what we have. That we already took off. We have a steering column because the thieves broke ours, so we're gonna try to rebuild the one inside there. We have brake clean, power steering fluid, coolant. In this box, I went over to the shop and I picked up everything I needed from over there. So I have the torque mounts. I have this here so we can fill the transmission, the coolant reservoir tank, and I don't know what else in there. It's all greasy, so I don't want to get my hands dirty. Oh, and I also bought the power steering reservoir because for some reason this one's not fitting right, and I don't want to keep fighting with that. The only thing I wasn't able to buy today was the power steering belt, which ours is pretty cracked. It'll probably do fine for this weekend, but that's the only thing that we know that needs to be replaced that we won't be able to replace. Yesterday we left off in the timing belt, so I never put the mount back in, which I'm gonna have to do now. I just want to adjust this because I feel like it's just way too loose here. I don't think you're supposed to twist it like that. So I'm just gonna do the adjustment as the repair manual says to do, and then we can move on to the rest of the stuff. So put you guys back on the same tripod, same angle, and let's get this thing going. Thanks to the previous owner, I no longer had to replace the timing belt or water pump. So I was quick to jack up the engine in order to reinstall the timing cover and engine mount. Next on the to-do list was draining the oil. I do not like doing oil changes. I can't say it enough. Every time I end up making a mess and smelling like a dirty oil rag. Speaking of messes, some oil got on the ground, so I got up to grab a rag to clean the oil off and to put the German bolt back in. Now it was time to adjust the tension on the belt. I just had to loosen the pulley and turn the crank a few turns before tightening it all back up. On top, it was time to reinstall the valve cover, but not before replacing the gasket and the spark plug seals. And finally, it was time to replace the spark plugs, and since I did not have the correct socket, a deep 16mm and a magnet will just have to do the job. Here we have two spark plugs. The old one, sorry for the bad lighting. You guys can see that. See all that carbon buildup? So the only ones that look like this, it was 1 and 4. So the one closest to the timing belt and the one closest to the distributor. And this is what a new one should look like. You guys can see that. And these were obviously aftermarket NGK, I don't know. Part number of this is NGK ZFR6FGP. And these are, I went with the OEM quality, Denso. They were cheap. They were like $7 for all 4. So part number on these were KJ16CRL11. So if you guys can see that, Denso. So the two middle ones just were like barely worn. So we're gonna see what's actually causing this problem. With that, we have all 4 spark plugs changed. We're gonna go with keeping the wires the same. We just took this off the other car and they had just replaced them. These say high temp suppression, so these are probably like some off-brand ones, but it is what it is. We'll do what we can with them. This is 3. If we need to replace them, if we still have like I think there's the old ones from this car in the trunk, so we'll try those too if these are in bad condition. So number 1 and then number 2. And if you guys saw earlier in the video, I just numbered them all so we don't have problems messing with the starting order. Oh wait, I mixed these 2 up. Look at that. This is 3. Oh no, this is 3. This is 2. 2 seems like it's too tight. I'm gonna have to go through that firing order again. 1. Interesting. Alright, we got, this is 4. No, this is number 3. So this is 2 and 1. Huh. So it turns out I might have had the timing. Let me go check the manual. Let's just say it turns out we had the firing ordering a little backwards. So it's all fixed now. I'll put a diagram on the screen, or actually some guy described it, and there was another picture that showed it. So I'll put it on the screen, and that shows that. So unfortunately we wasted so much time buying a canopy when it didn't even rain, that we're gonna have to come back in the morning. Being that this was my last full day of working on the car, I got right to it. My neighbor stopped by for some words of encouragement, and remember that canopy I bought yesterday? Well, I was able to use it today to shield me from the sun while I worked. First thing on today's agenda was filling the transmission with gear oil. Second was replacing the power steering reservoir for the one out of the parts car, and the hoses had seen better days, so we swapped those out too. Third was installing the torque mount brackets along with the new torque mounts. The brackets were caked in oil, so I gave it a quick cleaning with the greaser and a wire brush, and I used a whole can of brake clean to take care of the engine block. While I was down there, I stumbled upon a pleasant surprise, but we'll talk about that a little later. Back under the car to replace the oil filter, and this is the part I really don't like. My other neighbor brought over an oil filter cup, but it was too big, so I had no choice but to stab the filter with a screwdriver just to get it out. And let's not talk about the mess it made. Alright people, it's been a long day. I just got washed in oil because of the damn oil filter. I need to get that cover for that, but let's look at our list. I think we have everything pretty much done. So we look here, trans fluids is done, title printer done, timing belt water pump, we know what happened there. Spark plugs are done, valve cover gas is done, oil change is done. I just put the oil in, torque mounts are done, thermostat is done, oil pan gasket. So, if you guys paid attention to the last video, or earlier in the video when I was doing the driver's side torque mount, you might have seen that the VIN number of the engine came off, and I was expecting it to be something like JHDC4, but it wasn't. It was JHRD1. And if you guys know what RD1 is, it's a CRV. And if you know what a CRV is, then you know this is a B20. And if you look at it there, it's a B20 B4. Not sure if that's high compression or low compression. No idea what that is, but it's a good thing to know, or to have, because I thought this was like an original engine and it was running like crap because of that. But we fixed the firing order, and now we know that we have a B20, which is pretty good too. Also, because we have a B20, I had to do the oil pan gasket, so we didn't have to do that. And the time belt was already done, so we didn't have to do that. I did do the thermostat. That looked pretty good. It looked pretty old and stuff. So that's everything there. So now we're onto this one. So degrease, wash car, interior clean, drive, coolant, battery, exhaust leak. All right, guys. No idea where the last clip went off, but let's just say the open track session starts at 11, and it is 11, and I'm obviously not at the track. So just quickly go over the car. My younger brother cleaned my windows. He did a phenomenal job, as you can tell. The car is filthy, so we weren't able to wash the car. It's still filthy, but we were able to drive the car, and that's what's important. So all our list here is gone, completely gone. So overall, we got everything done. We were able to do the time belt water pump. We didn't have to do because somebody already did it. The oil pan gasket we didn't have to do because we found out that this is a B20 engine, not an LS. We did a trans fluid. We degreased the engine as best as we could. We did the oil change with a oil and filter change. We put 10W40 Valvoline high mileage, because now, before we thought it was a 400,000 mile engine. Now we don't really know what it is, but B20s usually smoke anyway, so we did an oil change with 10W40, just because our transmission filled with Mobil 1 10W30, and we went around, did our bolt checks every corner. We put the side skirt on, the rear bumpers on. I did register the car, so it is road legal now. And same thing on this side, we put that side skirt on. So as of now, everything is done. Let me just go over the list again one more time on my phone, just to make sure I'm not missing anything before we head over to the track. So intake is installed. Oh, now that I say that, I need a clamp for the intake portion, the throttle body portion of that. I didn't do the steering column. Battery tie down I did. Oil filter did. Coolant, I bled the coolant, but we're gonna bring some extra because when I bled the coolant, the thermostat, I mean the fan wasn't connected because the thieves took the relay and the fuse. So once we plug that in, I've been driving the car around, but it does have like boom, boom, so like a little fluctuation in the idle. So when we get there, if it heats up, we'll just run the coolant and do a little flush. The battery's brand new. Replace the thermostat, coolant, reservoir, and hose we did. Cotter pins we did. Light bulbs, they stole or they cut the driver's side low beam harness, so we have all the ones except for that one. Tighten the ABS bracket, power steering reservoirs in and fixed. I replaced, as I said earlier in the video, I replaced both hoses from the reservoir and the actual reservoir. Torque mount brackets are in. Valve cover gasket is done. Distributor wires, we kept the same ones. They're good, but we did fix the firing order like we said. The heater core hose we did a while ago, and then the rear suspension bolts we did last video. So we're pretty much set, and we cleaned up the car a pretty good amount here. I mean, it's still dirty, the carpet's dirty. I broke my vacuum, but that's all the stuff we have for today, tools and everything, but that's how we're racing today. So this video ends here. The next video will start at the track. See you guys next week for the results. Peace.